So guys, as everyone knows that we are here to have a demo session or a webinar on F5 Ltm. So this is one of the major technology which is in demand. So whether you are in network industry or you are in security field, F5 is asked in every interview or in every organization. So guys, we are excited to share you the news that we are starting one new batch. So many people were waiting to start a new batch on LTM. So we are finally starting this batch from 24th of September. It will be weekend, Saturday, Sunday batch, and timings would be 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. IST morning timings, and fees would be 7,000 only. So this here I will tell you what is the objective and how it will benefit you and what all things will be covered. So I'm proceeding further, and if you have any questions, I will take at the last. And what facilities we will be giving, I will tell you everything when we have a Q&A session. So guys, major thing which everyone has the question is what we will be covering in the course content. So guys, F5, as an introduction, F5 is one of the company which has a product called load balancer. F5 has a different products in the market. So it has been segregated into LTM module, GTM module, ASM, and APM. So every component is having a different approach. If I talk about LTM, guys, if someone is from network industries, let's say you are from routing switching background, so this is in huge demand nowadays. Whether you are moving into cloud or you are moving into automations or you are into data center, LTM or GTM is in huge demand in the market. In every company, you can go into Naukri.com, they will be asking you load balancer. Have you worked on F5? Maybe they will ask you, have you worked on any one of the load balancer? So F5 is one company like this, Citrix is one company, Redware is one company. But most of the demanding technology is F5. And ASM is a security model, guys. You have been working on Palo Alto firewall, checkpoint, FortiGate. So ASM is one technology which is a very vast technology and is in huge demand also. So when I talk about whole F5, guys, F5 is one company which has a product called LTM, GTM, ASM, and APM. And what we are covering is LTM, which is called Local Traffic Manager. GTM is your DNS solution. Anyways, when you will join us, we will give you an update what is GTM, what is ASM. But here we are going to discuss about LTM as a product. So first, let me tell you about course content, what we are covering. So I will wanted to go ahead with that first. So guys, this course is around, it will take around more than 1 month. So approximately 1.5 maximum month, this course will complete. Saturday, Sunday, 2 hours each or 2.5 hours, depending on the student's approach and how we are doing it. And guys, see, my experience, I am with it. I'm working in this technology from last 12 plus years. I am certified in LTM module, GTM module, ASM, and APM. So guys, see, in company, many people says that I'm attending interview, but I'm not able to clear my interviews. I don't have a working professional experience. So guys, this technology, I can guarantee you, if anyone do this technology from me or Hemu sir, any other technology like firewalls, we guarantee you 100% interview clearance. That is the first thing which we are providing. So we will cover the course in such a way that I will make the course interactive. So first, how the approach I follow is I will give you an idea about theory part, then practical. So all the practical, guys, it does not need any license. License is free of cost. So we will cover all the labs and I will cover production scenarios also, guys. And there is an extra support which you will be providing. We will be making you a separate WhatsApp group also. where you can ask your doubts. And guys, I've been working in production scenarios plus troubleshooting. So when I talk about any technology, guys, you should know three things. First, design part, which is main, how load balancer is implemented in your organization. Second thing which comes into picture is practical approach. Theory part, if you know, you should know the practical, why this has been required. Second part is implementation. You have done the design part plus practical approach, how F5 is going to be placed in your market. Second thing which comes into in your profile is implementation. You get a request to deploy F5 from scratch. Let's say one of my person, Arpit, is one of the person whose customer says that, hey, I need to implement load balancer from scratch. So you should know, right? Before jumping into load balancer, you should know the technology. What is LTM? What are the major component? If I deploy LTM in a working production scenario, will it impact anything else? End-to-end approach is very important, guys. Architecture. If you know the architecture and basic concept, guys, if you don't know much advanced, I can guarantee you, you can study, you can crack it. So we will be discussing from beginning, like design part, implementation, plus the most important part comes as an operations profile, where you get some issues and how you troubleshoot. Even guys, when you troubleshoot, you should know the basics. So let's go further into the course content. This is my introduction and what I will be doing it. So guys, in course agenda, first topic would be big IP system and TMOS architecture. Very, very important, guys. Whenever you go to any company, first question will be asked by the companies, what is the difference between LTM versus GTM? F5, everyone knows F5 is a company, but you cannot say F5 has a load balancer. F5 has other things also in market. F5 is providing you DNS solution. F5 is providing you a WAF module security product. F5 you can implement as a SSL VPN also. But what is LTM, guys? So let's come directly into LTM, where we will discuss about architecture, system, and TMOS. So many people will get confused. What is LTM or what is big IP? Some people will see that F5 LTM is written in company. Some people will say that big IP is written. Some people will say LTM is written. So what is the exact difference between all this? And what is TMOS, guys? So guys, let me just directly come into your big IP LTM introduction. What is big IP F5? So when I talk into practical approach, guys, F5 is deployed. How F5 is deployed? F5 as an LTM product, how it is deployed in any company. What is F5? So if I show you the pictorial representation, you will come to know where the F5 product is deployed. So let's say I have a devices on the internet. I have a mobile device. I have computers. I have laptops. I have other products also. Then there is a DDoS device. Then there is a firewall. Then guys, there comes your F5 module. Simple question before going into advanced or course content to make it more interactive. F5 LTM is a load balancer device where client will connect to one website. Let's say my company says that I have one application which I want to deploy behind F5. But why? Why they want to deploy their URL, main URL behind F5? First thing is, guys, your load balancer will help you to, let's say I have a client coming into picture. I have an F5. I have three servers, server 1, server 2, server 3. So load balancer basically distribute your load. Let's say I have one client here, second client here. third client here, fourth client here, all wants to connect to SIANETS.com. And F5 is coming into picture, load balancer, LTM module. If someone asks you what is LTM, that is called local traffic manager. That is a simple definition or a full form of LTM. And what does it do is, it takes a traffic from client and distribute the traffic across multiple servers. And what are these servers, guys? These are called application servers. Some people will say backend servers. So your application, the SIANETS.com, is physically deployed under these servers. Logically, the SIANETS.com is called a VIP, but physically this website is hosted on this server, or you can say application. So that is why F5 is known as application delivery controller. Why it has given been name as an application delivery controller is, my F5 is providing me 24/7 availability of my website. How? Some client traffic will load balance here, some traffic will go here, some traffic will go into this server. Why, guys? Because to distribute your load. So some traffic comes here first, here. F5 will distribute some traffic here on this server, some traffic on this, traffic on this server. So that, guys, if this server goes down, your website is still available. Very, very important, guys. Load plus balancer. Guys, trust me, company can ask you any question from basics. What does load means and what does balancer mean? If I talk about F5, F5 has been divided into two terms, load plus balancer. Load means client request. When you go to google.com, you type sianets.com. So this application must be hosted somewhere, right? So that is called load. How many requests you can take it. So that is called load balancer. What is balancer? See, one server, let's say I don't have a load balancer coming into picture. I have a simple scenario. I will draw one picture on my whiteboard. So guys, my main agenda is I follow mostly pictorial representation. So that is where you need to be with me. So that now I have one scenario where I don't have F5 Ltm. I'm drawing one picture. I have one client, second client, third client coming here. Then we have a firewall. Then we have a switch, layer 2 switch. Then we have server. I don't have multiple server, guys. Now we will see the challenge. Question is, when we don't have a load balancer, what will happen? What are the disadvantage for that? So in that case, guys, what will happen is, your request comes from here, your request comes from here, request comes from here. All this request will go to one server. Now, this server can handle only 100 requests at a moment, but he is getting 200 requests. Will he able to handle? What are the challenges you will get, guys? My simple scenario is, guys, people will ask you why you need a F5. So what should be your answer? Your answer should be that if this server goes down, you will get an outage. That is the first disadvantage of not having load balancer. Second disadvantage is, guys, you will face memory issues. You will face slowness issues, right? All your traffic, when people are connecting to sianets.com, are only going via one server that is overutilized. You don't have any load balancer which can segregate some traffic. I want some traffic of this client should go to one server. For this server, I should go to server 2. For this client, request should go to server 3. That is not possible if we don't have a load balancer. So that are the disadvantages when we have only firewall, we don't have F5. Now here comes F5 Ltm into picture, or you can say load balancer. In that case, what will happen? You have client, you have one client, you have one client here. Your clients are connecting to a, let's say, ISP router. Then let's say you have firewall. Then you have F5. Then you have, let's say, three server 1, server 2, and server 3. In that case, guys, what will happen is, first thing is some client request will go to this server. Even this is overutilized. Your request will go to this server and this server. So proper load balancing will happen. Proper utilization of resources will happen. No slowness issues will come. Second thing is, guys, even this server goes down, there are backup. These two servers can handle the load at that time. So 24 into 7 availability. Very, very important. So that is why we required F5, guys. So that some traffic comes here, it will go to F5, then F5 will see. F5 has a load balancing algo, guys. According to that, it will utilize the load. It will send some traffic to server 1, some traffic to server 3, some traffic to server 2. So that is why we required load balancer, guys. In this way, guys, if you follow a pictorial representation, you will definitely get everything. So this is will be my approach in teaching also. So let's go further on, and I will give you some more advantages of a load balancer. First, guys, first term we have discussed, this is called application domain controller, or you can say application delivery controller. Another point, guys, your F5 can be deployed as a hardware module. F5 can be deployed in virtual machine, and F5 can be deployed in cloud environment also. So people have question, right? Sometimes people will say that 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 I have virtual machine, I need to deploy F5 on that. I have a cloud environment, I want to deploy it. So in that case, very, very important thing comes into picture is that you can deploy in cloud also. If you don't have hardware space, you can deploy it in ESXi also. So these are the three things where F5 can be deployed. Even, guys, you're jumping into cloud. In that case also, you can deploy load balancer. Maybe you have AWS load balancer, Azure load balancer, that it's your choice. But F5 can be deployed as a physical hardware, virtual machine, and cloud environment. Another important point comes into picture is TMOS. Very, very important. What is TMOS? So you should know what is TMOS environment. So I will jump into that directly. So, guys, when I talk about TMOS architecture, I will just increase the space. So TMOS, let's in Cisco. In Cisco, what happens? We have iOS. In Juniper, what we have? Junus as an operating system. In F5, guys, we have operating system, which is called TMOS. And what is the full form of TMOS, guys? Traffic Management Operating System. So that is where, right, F5 needs to do load balancing. It should modify the traffic. So that is where, guys, TMOS operating system comes into picture. You should know what is the operating system coming into picture is TMOS. So when I talk about TMOS, guys, TMOS has a different components. So let's go one by one into that. So I will draw a pictorial representation here also in whiteboard so that you can understand the TMOS architecture of F5, which is very important, guys. So I will draw a picture where I have one data plane. So F5 is segregated into two planes. One is data plane and one is management plane for admin task. So here is an operating system which will be installed. Then you will have different module. LTM is one module, GTM is one module, ASM is one module, maybe APM. Then you have one component which comes under picture is I roles. Then there is one major component which is called full proxy architecture. Then you will have SSL separate engine. Then you will have compression. So all this comes under your data plane. When I talk about admin task, guys, when you access GUI of your F5, that comes under your management plane. When you talk about CLI, that comes under your management plane. When you talk about NTP, syslog, all comes under your management plane. When I talk about CLI, traffic management shell, that all comes under your management plane. So guys, one of the major component of F5 is called full proxy architecture. What does it mean, guys? You will not heard this term in Palo Alto or any other technology, but you will hear this term in F5. So let's discuss first what is full proxy architecture so that you can understand the requirement. So guys, as I discussed, when F5 is coming into picture, your client will first have a connection with F5. So there will be two connection. When I talk about full proxy, guys, full proxy means one connection will be happen between client to F5 and one connection will be from F5 to the server. So that is called full proxy architecture, which is very, very important term. This will be asked in every interview. What is full proxy architecture? So you must have heard about terms forward proxy. You must have heard about reverse proxy. But the term where when we talk about F5 Ltm, that is called full proxy architecture. Why we called full proxy architecture, we will see. First thing is when you talk about full proxy means, I will draw a picture here. You will see one client here, one F5 box and one server. So your application will be hosted here on your pool member backend server. So why it is called proxy module? Because there will be two separate connection. One is from client to F5 and one connection will be a separate. Your server will never come to know which client is coming, which client is accessing my website. They will never come to know. Separate client and server connection is called full proxy architecture. See, here you can see, right? First three-way separate TCP connection will be here. SYN packet will be sent from client to F5. SYN-ACK will be sent from F5 to client and acknowledgement will be sent to F5 from client. After that, there will be application data. First packet of HTTP, guys. When you access SIANETS.com, guys, always what will happen when you access any website on a browser, first there will be three-way handshake which will be built. Then there will be a get request. So when I talk about F5, guys, F5 works in layer 4 and layer 7 both. When I talk about TCP layer, it's called layer 4. When I talk about HTTP, it's called layer 7. Very, very important, guys. Now, once this three-way handshake is completed and successful, then only F5 will send traffic to pool member. F5 will first choose pool member. Let's say I have 3 servers. Very, very important, guys. Please note that down. Let's say I have 3 servers behind F5. My client send a request. Three-way handshake is completed here. Now, how F5 will determine whether this client request should send to this server, or this server? Anyone, guys? In this case, guys, there is a concept which is called load balancing algo. According to that, F5 will balance the load. Some request will go to server 1, some request will go to server 2, some request will go to server 3. So one of the major load balancing algo which is being used is called round robin. Round robin means first client come, his request should go to this way. Second request come, it will go to server 2. Third request will go, it will go to server 3. So that is called full proxy. For full proxy, there are 3 major point, guys. If you are anyone ask you, first point is there will be 2 separate connections. That is the first thing which you can answer to them. Second thing is before F5 connects to server, it will check and understand whether this three-way handshake is completed. F5 will determine the whole traffic. So it will completely understand the application properly. Even guys, there is one module F5 has WAF, which will check whether this client is hacker, this client traffic is good or bad. Are you getting me? Proxy means F5 will not send traffic directly to the server. First, F5 will inspect whether this traffic is good or this traffic is bad. So that is the major logic of understanding the application. That is why F5 is a secure device. That's why there is a security, right? First, it will check whether this traffic coming from client is good or bad. Then only if this traffic is bad, guys, then F5 will reject this traffic. It will not forward to the server. If there is firewall, guys, firewall will, what does firewall do? If it receives the traffic, it will forward to your server directly, right? If there is a policy, but here it will check and it will examine your traffic. It will understand both your application request traffic and application response traffic, guys. Trust me, guys, if you answer this question even to your company or even to your any interview company, guys, trust me, you can crack any interview. I will guide you how to answer interviewer because I have that experience. So believe me, trust me, and keep working hard. So we will follow this type of approach, understanding even a new people, they don't have idea of F5. I will teach that way. Right? What is understanding application, right? SIANETS.com. What is that? When you open a browser, what comes into picture? HTTP layer, right? HTTP works at layer 7 and layer 7 is application layer. And we will talk about SSL also, guys. When you have HTTPS traffic, guys. So when let's say I have a client wants to connect to HTTPS sianets.com. Then you will see that this traffic is encrypted. How F5 will check whether this traffic is good? So guys, there is a separate SSL hardware engine in F5, which will decrypt and send the traffic further to server. So what it means is your client to F5 will be encrypted, which is on HTTPS. Then F5 will first decrypt it and then send a plain traffic to your server. That is called unencrypted traffic. That is an advantage of a full proxy. This connection does not have any logic with this connection. This can be a separate HTTP connection. This can be on HTTPS. There is a segregation of a traffic. This can be compressed traffic and this can be uncompressed traffic. So there is a separate, this traffic does not have any dependency on this traffic, guys. So there is a proxy coming into picture. There is also possibility that I get traffic here on F5 and F5 will modify and send traffic to the server. Let's say client sends some traffic data, then F5 will modify it and then send to the server also. This can also be possible. So you can say F5 sits between client and a server. F5 is a middleman device which will inspect the traffic. So client will communicate to F5 first, then F5 will see whether traffic is good, then F5 will only forward traffic to the server based on load balancing algo. So when someone asks you what is ADC, application delivery controller, you can say that it basically removes load from your server. Are you getting me? There is a device, separate device coming before server. So all the load will be handled by F5. So you can do layer 3 load balancing, layer 4 load balancing, and layer 7 load balancing. What are the features? You can do SSL offloading, guys. It can work as a WAF, web application firewall. Traffic optimization can be done. So all this comes under picture under F5. Compression can be done. Are you getting me? So all this comes under your F5 module and TMOS in an operating system, which comes into picture. And how the F5 looks like side. If someone asks you hardware level, F5 will look like that. So F5 will have one console cable, management separate port. So console cable is used to, let's say you got an F5, you need to configure it from scratch. So there you need to understand all this port. What is failover cable? That is used for high availability. So these are all components of F5. So let me just come under different modules. So see, I discussed F5 has different module, LTM, local traffic manager. This is called DNS, intelligent DNS solution, ASM, application or WAF. And this module is used as a single sign-on solution or SSL VPN. So you see, when you log in into website of your organization, in that case, you just log in one time and you can open multiple website. That is called single sign-on solution. There, this component comes into picture. Access policy manager. Why it is called local? Why it is called global, guys? Anyone? Will discuss this in our class. Local traffic manager means, let's say you have a data center where you need to deploy F5. Another important question, guys. Why this is known as local? Why this is termed as global? Local means you have a client, you have F5, you have server. Local means your F5 will be installed in same data center as your server. So your application will be deployed in same data center and your F5 will also deployed in same data center. That is called local traffic manager. And what does GTM means, guys? GTM comes into picture. Let's talk about 2 minutes for it. This is very also, GTM is also in huge demand. So we will start next batch on GTM also soon. So let's say I have a client sitting in US. I have one client sitting in UK. So I have one server in US data center, one server in UK. Now I have one F5 where I have configured GTM. So I want client which is coming from US, it should go to US server. Client is coming from UK, then it should go to UK data center. So that is called global traffic manager. Your F5 is installed in DC1, your servers is installed in different data center. One server is in US, another server in UK. When I talk about local traffic manager, your servers are locally hosted in same data center. That is called intelligent DNS, guys. Very, very important. GTM is also important. Even in cloud, you have heard about Route 53. DNS will never go in. Even there is a recession, even automation comes in. This GTM will be always required. DNS technology is always required. So that is what a difference between LTM versus GTM. Now, guys, advantage of F5 LTM. We talk about security, right? What does security mean? Anyone? We talked about security. Security component means you have client, then you have F5, then you have server. Your F5 is acting as a middleman. So your traffic comes from client, it will not forward to server. First, it will check whether traffic is good or not. So it can prevent you from DDoS attack, and end user will never has a visibility of your server. As a, let's say I am with it, I want to connect to SIANETS.com. I will never come to know on which server request has gone. So that is called security component available. Very, very important, guys. What does available mean? 24 into 7 my application will be accessible. That is what the requirement from customer comes in, right? I want my application to be 24 into 7 available. And how it does? So there is a one major component which comes into picture is health monitor, guys. We'll talk about this. Like when you go to doctor, it checks your health either by BP machine, heart machine. So it will keep monitoring your health of backend server. If server, let's say I have three servers, server one, server two, server three. If one server goes down, it will not forward traffic to that server. It will forward the traffic to another server. See, it can direct or redirect specific with respect to appropriate resources. Very important. And why it is fast, guys? Because you have multiple server, right? You have one client here, one client here, one client here. It connects to F5. Then you have three servers. So you will not face slowness issues, right? Some request will go to this server, some request will go to this server, some request will go to this server. See, it will reduce the workload of your backend server so that they can perform faster. That is major role of F5, guys. Very, very important component about application load balancer. So let me come again into our course content. So we will start this way, initialization, then we will do lab setup, guys. So lab setup either can be done on your laptop. So generally, guys, I want everyone to have their personal laptop because it only requires, if you have a new laptop, it only requires 8 GB RAM plus you have SSD, then it will work. Very important, guys. We will do all the labs, images will be shared, and licenses is free of cost. F5 provides you 30 days license free of cost. You don't need to pay anything. And after that, you can extend it also. Then, guys, we will perform load balancing. There are different load balancing algo. So when we talk about load balancing algo, guys, these are the different load balancing algo which we'll talk about. Static load balancing, dynamic load balancing. So why load balancing come into picture? Let's say I have I5, I have this client, I have another client, I have third client. Then I have 3 servers. I told you, right? When client connects to SIANETS.com, traffic comes to F5. Now F5 should come know that whether I should send this traffic to this server or this server or this server. There comes the component load balancing algo, or you can say load balancing method. If I have round robin, this client request will go to this server, this client request will go to this server, this client request will go to this server. That is where we will talk about all these things in detail separately. All the load balancing algo will be covered in detail. So I have written right in introduction, I will cover whole F5 from scratch. Every company wants to deploy F5 in cloud or F5 as a hardware. We will see everything in detail, like how we license the book. So first thing, guys, very important thing which I am now discussing is how to configure F5 from scratch. First, we will get the console access and we will configure management connectivity. That is the first component which we will do. Then we will license the box. That is the second component you should always know. Third component you should know is resource provisioning. Whether you only want to configure LTM or you want to configure GTM and ASM also. Trust me, guys, this question will be asked in every interview or in production scenarios also. Fourth component is a network setup, VLANs, self IP. We will talk about everything in detail. I have a separate lab guide for this, which I will be sharing you. And you will get all recorded videos for this course. Fifth thing, HA, how to deploy F5 in HA. Let's say when F5 goes down, my traffic should go to second server. Sixth thing is DNS, NTP, this component we will see. Syslog server, all this thing will be discussed. We will see how to upgrade F5 when there is any vulnerability, how you can upgrade your F5, that we will discuss. After that, another component which comes into picture is F5 terminology, guys. F5, if you don't know virtual server, pool member, node, then you will never understand F5. So these are the base of F5. When I talk about load balancer, you should know these 4 components. What is virtual server? Anyone, guys? When I talk about virtual server, guys, you have a client, you have a firewall, you have F5. Then you have 3 servers, server 1, server 2, server 3. When I talk about client wants to access my website, sianets.com, that is called your virtual server. Virtual server is nothing plus IP plus port. URL. URL of any website is called virtual server. You will never forget if you understand this way. We will talk about packet flow, how traffic will go from client to F5, what will happen, then how traffic will go to F5 to the server. Health monitor also we will discuss in detail. What is node or a pool member? Pool member is nothing but IP plus port number of your backend server. Server 1, server 2, server 3. That is called pool member. After that, guys, we will talk about virtual server type. F5 can be deployed in layer 3, layer 4, or layer 7. When I talk about lab setup, guys, so I will first log in by admin. Lab setup is easy, guys. When you join, I will tell you all things. I will share the images. So when I go to virtual server, guys, I will go here in local traffic, virtual server, create option. Here you will see the type of virtual server. So you should know what is standard virtual server, what is forwarding virtual server, what is performance virtual server. We will call, we will clear all this practically with use cases. Now here I was talking about load balancing algos, right? Whether we should use round robin, whether we should use ratio based, whether we should use least connection, all this thing we will discuss in detail. Another thing, profile guys, my favorite topic. Why we require TCP profile, why we required HTTP profile, why we required SSL profile, what is offloading, what is re-encryption, what happens when we have HTTP profile. All these things comes into picture. How SSL handshake works. All these things we will do with lab setup. What is persistence? One of the most important question which will be asked is persistence profile. Cookie, what is cookie? What is source address? Very, very important. We will discuss all these things in detail. See, persistence is a separate topic. Another favorite topic is snat. Many people knows what is snat and what does it do. If I say you, what are the 4 use cases of snat? Can anyone answer it? I will ask this question in Q&A. Everyone knows that snat is used to resolve routing issue. That is correct. But if someone asks you what are the more advantages of snat, then what should be your answer? What is floating IP? What is self IP? That all things we will cover in detail. Another important question which comes under picture is what is difference between NAT and F5 versus NAT and firewall? Very, very important question, guys. As an interviewer, guys, people want to know whether you're working practically or not. That's why F5 provides you free lessons. You can do any lab, even you're not working in production. We will cover all scenarios which will help you to crack. IAP. We will talk about IAP. This is around small topic where you want to deploy over. There are ready-made template to deploy your application quickly. Let's say I want to deploy my application in 15 minutes. Some big application I want to deploy, Exchange, that we will discuss. QK view, iHealth, this all comes under your troubleshooting. F5 has a very important tool which is called iHealth. I will show you how you can troubleshoot. Then we will talk about backup and upgrade, guys. Very, very important question. How, if you're doing any critical activity, you should take backup always. How to upgrade F5 and when you want to upgrade. What are the stable version? What is difference between 12 version, 13 version, 15 version? How, let's say I'm on 12 version, I want to upgrade to 15. Can I go directly? All these things. Even we will cover migration approach also, guys. Let's say I'm into my 2000 model. I want to upgrade into I series. How I can upgrade? So here you will understand the migration approach. High availability, guys. Another important topic. Let's say I have F5 here, which is active. One F5 I have in standby. If this F5 goes down, your traffic should go via this way to your server. That is called high availability. We will talk about 3 terms here. Device group, device trust, and third component is traffic group. Next thing is we will talk about login, syslog server, guys. How we can check whether, let's say if there is a pool member flapping happening, where I need to check the log. There is one file which is called where log LTM. What is difference between LTM versus LTM.1.zz? we'll see syslog server, how to configure remote login. Then a troubleshooting 4 hours troubleshooting videos I will be sharing that. Plus we will discuss about Wireshark, how to determine if someone says that my URL is not working. And guys, you can deploy F5 in GUI also versus CLI. Your F5 works in a Linux platform. Your TMOS is a Linux based operating system. So I will show you. Let's say I got 80 virtual server, which I not need to deploy quickly. How you can deploy through CLI. If you want to be good in automation, you should not CLI. So I will cover every aspect of CLI versus GUI, guys. If you are good in GUI, not CLI, then don't worry. We will talk about that. You just need to know basics of Linux. Now, another topic which comes under TMOS, what is TMOS? And final topic is I rules. And nowadays, guys, I rules are getting replaced with traffic policies. You can say local traffic policy that we will discuss in detail. And one more topic we will cover is route domain and partition. So don't worry, this will be around more than 1.5 month course, and Saturday, Sunday it will be there. Plus, now last thing which I will discuss is what are the facilities you will get. Let's discuss. You will get, guys, recorded videos after each classes. Links has been shared in the group chat. Plus, you will get lifetime interview support. What is lifetime interview support, guys? Let me clear, I don't want to do any fake commitments. Lifetime interview support means, let's say Arjun comes into me. He says that, sir, I have an interview. So for that, we are recording videos in our portal. First thing, we will share that to everyone. And second thing is, we will have mock interview. They can call me 4 to 5 days before interview, but there is a pre-request here. You should watch all my F5 Ltm videos. Then I will ask you different questions which will be asked in your interview. And trust me, guys, there are fixed 25 to 30 questions which will be asked. And I know I've been working in this industry from last 12 to years. So I know what type of questions will be asked. And I'm giving 100% guarantee that you can crack any interview after doing my course. I can challenge on that. And you can check our feedbacks on our website, Google reviews, or you can talk with our students. Third thing, what we will give you, we will support you in lab. Whenever you have any issues in lab, we will help you to make in your laptop. Fourth thing is, guys, we will have separate WhatsApp group for enrolled student. And you can ask your queries there. Even that group I will not delete after the class. And the fifth important thing is, let's say Saturday, Sunday you attend class, Monday to Friday you can call me in evening 7 to 8 if you have any doubts. You can call me. I will pick my call. See, WhatsApp messages are difficult to track. Directly call me and ask your doubts. Even you have any production issues, you can call me and I will help you. And we have a separate portal made for our video based series. You can check that. You can go to this web.class plus and you go to store. You will see different videos. We will give you recorded videos which you can watch in laptop also. Plus you can watch in mobile also. We have a dedicated application. And we generally have different offers. We have all the courses, latest courses, Python, F5, Palo Alto Tech. We have a unique course for Palo Alto Tech also, guys. It has more than 70 hours content. You will not able to find anywhere in the market. It covers all the concept of troubleshooting scenarios. Plus we have FortiGate, Batch, and other courses also, ASM, GTM. And guys, I was telling you about interview series. So guys, you can check this. This is free of cost, available on my website. So far we have covered most important 40 questions, and every weekend we generally have. Maybe some weekend we miss, but most weekends we cover free interview sessions. So you can just check this. Link will be shared by Ria ma'am. Ria, can you share the cheat on the chat, our application link, so that people can download it? And we have two YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube. We have a website also, sianets.com. You can download the course. How to download? You need to go to F5 Ltm. We have a Telegram group also, and you can go downwards. Go downwards and you can download the syllabus. And we have a channel which is called NST. One is Skilled Inspirational Academy. You can just mention that. And this is the channel. You can check different videos what I have covered so far. Go to playlist and you can go to F5 module. All the things. And we have one more channel, SIANETS. This is basically for firewall. And SG-WAN, you all know that SG-WAN we have started now. A evening batch, Saturday, Sunday. So you can check all the things on the detail. The first step towards achieving your dreams is having the right. And we have our Dada here. Inspirational Academy and make your F5 and Palo Alto dreams come true. Download the app now. You can check different videos here. So now I will stop the recording and I will give you chance